we are going to be covering killer scripts and killer strategies for the real estate industry. Gang, I'm going to wait for this audience to build up, and I'm just going to wait for people to come on to actually witness this great event that's coming to you on this winter day, coming to you from Sydney. And today we're going to be covering some of the really exciting stuff that I think real estate agents in this financial year are going to need to smash. May I say to you, as you're watching this video right now, you are receiving a group certificate, which is pretty much an x-ray of the value that you brought to the market over the last 12 months. That's what it is. Group certificates do not bullshit. A set of scales does not bullshit. And what I want you to do is I want you to start working on yourself, for yourself, by yourself. And today's session, I'm going to be covering some of the dialogue that you need at the moment. You've got to understand, you're going in, and if you're pricing listings wrong, they're going to be sitting on the market as overpriced turkeys. I'm also telling you right now, there are certain things you've got to be doing in video that are going to help you be the dominator, not the participator in your marketplace. And firstly, as we start off, I've got to say, I want to thank every one of my real estate gym members for all the attention that they've given me, because I'm pleased to let you know that the REB Top 100 Agents that just recently came out, I'm pleased to let you know that people that have come from those offices or themselves have been a member of the real estate gym. The majority of the people have been a member and have gone through the real estate gym program, and I know that the model works because I've always had a view. If you want to succeed, you time travel. You find someone that's getting your results and you copy their strategy. And the good news is there's not one way, there's many ways. And I have got hundreds of people, whether they're working in $1 million price brackets or they're working in small price brackets, so you can copy their system. Guys and girls, let's move in and move on to the scripts and dialogues. Why are scripts important? Because I reckon scripts are telling the truth efficiently. And in a world that has got people that are time poor, never use 1,000 words when 50 will do. And the first script I want to talk to you about is one that I've used myself as a real estate agent. Don't forget, when I'm talking to you, you're listening to a guy in his 30th year of real estate. I walk my talk. This Saturday I'll be auctioning. I go to vendor meetings. I go to listing presentations with my clients. I've run an office. I have walked your path and listened to how to win a listing when you're up against a vendor that wants to go with you, but they think you're too expensive. And this happened, and I was reminded by a Qantas pilot in the last few weeks when he spotted me walking out of a Qantas plane, and I had actually sold their property many years ago when I was listing and selling real estate full time. And he said, "Tom, the super salesman, how you going?" And it reminded me of the day at his house in the living room. Here's how it went. Listen in. This is absolute gold, because you're going to be able to use this strategy to win a listing at a higher fee. He said to me for around 10 minutes, he wanted to go with me. There was one issue. The issue was the commission. He kept saying, "You're too expensive. You're too expensive. You got to drop your fee." I knew he'd worked at Qantas. I knew he was a pilot. And I'd known over the time that I was trying to list him, the 6 months into it, that what had actually happened is that for many years he'd worked in that industry at Qantas. And this is how the conversation went when it stalled on commission. He said, "Tom, I want to go with you, but you've got to drop the fee. You've got to be cheaper. You're more expensive than the other agents." At that point I said, "Can I ask you, as a Qantas pilot, do you get paid more than non-Qantas pilots in the airline industry? Like, for instance, compared to, say, Qantas Airlines, which I think was around back then." He said, "Yes." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because it's market forces. Better pilots get paid more." I said, "Why would that be?" It's a better company. It's got an incredible track record, the best training. It hires the best people. It's got an incredible culture, and that's life. At that point, I said, "So what you're saying to me is the best pilot and the cheapest pilot is generally not the same pilot. And I've got to say to you, it's no difference in real estate. The best agent and the cheapest agent are generally not the same agent. I want you to understand that whilst you're looking at every agent as being the same, in fact, it's no different to your industry. There are good agents and there are poor agents, and they get paid accordingly. And what I'd like to say to you is it's no different as a pilot. I want you to have a look at me as being what you are in your industry. And I'd also like to say that at the moment, the conversation we're having seems to be focused on fee, but I really think by the sounds of it, you really care about getting the most money in your pocket. And I've got to say to you that the most expensive thing you can do is to have a good buyer in front of a bad agent. That can become royally expensive. So what I'd like to say to you is that I'd like the opportunity to represent you and be very mindful that I won't be getting paid until you've accepted a figure that you're very happy with. And I have to say to you, we got the business. And the reason we got the business is people make decisions emotionally and they justify them logically. I started speaking to him in his own language. Guys and girls, do you understand that you've got to learn to play a game that you can win? At ARIC, Peter Fuda so beautifully said that the majority of people lose in business because they played a game that they were never going to win. He actually used the metaphor where you've got a dartboard, and if you're 20 meters away from the dartboard, the chances of hitting the bullseye are very low. I'm going to say to you that if you're only like 10 centimeters away from the bullseye, you're going to win every time. So here's the secret. Don't play the game other agents are playing. Play a game you're going to win. And how do you do that? By asking a question that gets into the consumer's mind, and I'm going to give you a killer question that's going to help you blow your competitors away, because what you're going to do is you're going to be playing a game that you're going to win. Here it is. At some point, you must ask the vendor at the listing presentation, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, if you selected the perfect agent and they ran the perfect marketing campaign and the outcome was exactly what you were hoping it would be, can you describe what that would look like in your eyes? And shut up. That, my friends, is your listing presentation. That, my friends, is you understanding that people list for their reasons, not yours. And I'm going to start saying to you, the quality of your listing presentation is highly dependent on the quality of the questions you ask. So let me move on to the second script today I want to talk to you about. And that is that when you're at a listing presentation, how to move away from playing the game about being the one that overprices it the most. And here is a beautiful script. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, may I ask you, in selecting your agent, will you select an agent on the things the agent can control, like their marketing, database, their strategy, their track record? Or will you be picking an agent on the things that they can't control, like the price that they just shoot you and give to you today to make you happy? And shut up. Because what you want to do is to actually show the vendors that you can overprice a listing and get it as well. And I think that when you're talking about price at a listing presentation, here is some of the dialogue that I think is extremely useful to use. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I want to let you know that there are three prices in real estate: the emotional figure, the probable figure, and a mathematical figure. My job is to actually try and get you a premium, 10% more than any other agent. And I have to say to you, it's the process and not the promise of a price that's going to get you top dollar. So the good news is that today we don't have to spend too much time trying to work out what the exact number of your home is going to be when it sells. We don't have that pressure today. Today, what's pretty important is that we actually work out the process. Because whilst we can't control the price today, we certainly can control the process. And what I'd like to talk to you about is giving you a marketing program. May I ask you, would you like a marketing program to get you top dollar? or a marketing program just to make you happy today, because I can give you either. And Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, all I'd like to say to you is that I simply refuse to mismarket your property and say sorry later. I wouldn't do it to you. And Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, like I've got to say to you that the value of your home is actually dependent on 4 factors: location, presentation, the agent you pick, and the strategy the agent uses. The great news is today we can't control the location, but we control the other 3. So let's talk about how we're going to achieve you top dollar. So that's script number 2. Script number 3, I want to talk to you about price reductions. Price reductions at the moment are super critical, and what you've got to get into the habit is actually understanding and explaining to vendors that the first 4 weeks that the property's on the market is in the sweet zone. After that, the property moves into the stale zone. And what you've got to be doing is on a regular basis is seeing your vendors and saying, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I want to let you know, at the moment, we're in the sweet zone. My concern is that as we're not getting a lot of buyer engagement, we start risking falling into the stale zone shortly. It will be like that car that sits on a road with a cardboard sign saying for sale for many months. People then begin to think that there's something wrong with it, and then it loses its attractiveness in the market and it doesn't sell. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, what I'd like to suggest today is having a realignment of 7.5%, so we can start engaging buyers onto the property. Gang, did you listen to the words I used? A realignment of 7.5%, not a price reduction of $60,000. Gang, it is so important right now that you are giving your vendors quality, crucial conversations, or otherwise you are going to spend the next 3 months basically being an adult daycare center holding overpriced stock. And I'm telling you straight, most vendors are not looking for a friend to tell them everything's going to be fine. No, everything's not going to be fine. The reality is that it is a tough marketplace, and smart vendors understand that if they're not priced accordingly, they're going to be, this is some good dialogue you should be using. Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, I want to let you know that at the moment, your home is actually not in the market, it's on top of the market, and what I'm suggesting you is to realign your figure by around 7.5%, because we want to be in the market, because right now I don't even have anyone that I can negotiate with. So gang, understand, right now, if you are a D grader or a C grader in real estate, you are going to get smashed. Lift your game, become a pro. I want to move on to some 3 killer strategies that are going to have a profound impact in your life over the next 12 months. And hang on, gang, press the share button now, because today I'm going to give away a free 9-week program worth $1,000 to someone that we are going to draw out that has shared this live stream. So press the share button right now, gang. I want to get good views on it. We're doing this live stream and I want to get maximum cut through. So press that share button to win or be in the running to win that prize. So this is going to be my favorite part. Facebook, killer strategy number 1. There is a new feature on Facebook. If you, and now I'm going to get, my industry media crew to actually bring up the slide on Facebook now. I've got Daniel Saboon, and if you're not following that guy on Insta, please do. There's a slide that's popped up onto the screen there. If you actually have a look, on the bottom left-hand side there, you can see that there is a red highlight, info and ads, and what it does, it allows you on any business page to see what your competitors are running as advertisements. And this is extremely useful in you understanding what is the competition doing at the moment in your marketplace. It is a new feature, and I urge everyone to start learning how to use these features on social media. So, gang, thank you, Dan, for bringing that up, and we can take that off the screen now, and I want to move on and talk to you about, what Gary Vaynerchuk and Tom Ferry are talking at the moment about video. But what kind of video? What kind of video? How come no one at the moment is doing this? Why don't you try this? Why don't you do a case study video where you sit and you say, hey everyone, it's Tom Panos here from XY Realty, and I'd like to talk to you about a case study, number 75 Johnson Road in Annandale. This property had been on the market for 2 months. It couldn't be sold with another agent, and I want to let you know what were the things we did to actually get this property sold in 2 weeks at close to the asking price. So what I want you to do is give people a behind the scenes view of what you do in your job. So it might look something like this. So the first thing we did is we had the property restyled. So what I want to say is that we did is we actually got new furniture in, we actually brightened up the place, and then the next thing we did is we actually remarketed the property, we took new photos, and then the third thing we did is that we actually went off and we tried doing some Facebook advertising where we approached people that we knew people were coming from the North Shore or people were coming from another area. So we targeted ads, and before you know it, we sold the property to John and Sarah Smith, and they paid close to asking price. And that's what we're doing at the moment in our business. We're going out and finding the buyer because the buyer doesn't come to us. This is the kind of video you need to be providing people, creating. People are curious to know what you're doing behind the scenes in your job to get results. That's the sort of stuff you've got to be doing. And by 2020, the forecast is that pretty much everything on Facebook is going to be video. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is about, brand, right? Like brand, I have to say, brand is everything that people say about you when you're not in the room. And I'm going to say to you, at the moment, there are 3 things that I'm noticing on social media that are brand destroyers. The first one is what I call clickbaiting. Clickbaiting is an interesting one. Clickbaiting is where you actually have someone that goes off and buys Google AdWords in a deceptive way where they're turning around. For instance, like it happens to me all the time, and I'm just used to it because I've accepted it. If I preach that I'm going to be the Google of the marketplace, people are going to go buy my name on Google AdWords. So all you've got to do is have a look, and you'll see that all the time competitors of mine go to Google and they buy my name, Tom Panos. They pay for the name with the hope that when people put in the word Tom Panos, that their name pops up there so they can actually gain the traffic. So here's the deal with that. Number one is, you know what you're like. The most important thing is that you'll always look at organic traffic. You'll look at an ad, but you know that ads have been paid for, and you know that organic is real. And what I'm saying is become the organic person of the marketplace. So, gang, I'm telling you straight, be your brand. Be so good that you want competitors to actually be you in the market. And if they can't be you, they'll try and buy your traffic. That's how important it is for you to work on your personal brand. So understand that is number one. Number two is this concept of milkshake duck. Milkshake duck is an internet term now that describes someone who looks great on social media but is actually very deeply flawed, right? The milkshake duck. And it is a real term. So why is this important? Because people want to know that their audio is matching the video of the people that they meet. That is what authenticity is all about. So milkshake ducks are being discovered all the time, and people hate bullshit, right? People can smell bullshit a mile away. So gang, I'm saying to you, do not be a milkshake duck, right? You'll know, like I've got to tell you, guys and girls, anyone that knows me and has worked with me closely for years knows I'm off camera, on camera, same person, right? Yes, I speak exactly the same way. And sometimes it's a little bit raw and it's not filtered enough, but I've got to tell you, at the end of the day, give me someone that is rough and real than fake and perfect any day of the week. Real is rare these days. Gang, the last one I want to talk to you about is this term called catfishing. Catfishing is another term which is an internet social media phenomenon, and this is when someone is pretending to be someone else on the internet. This is the classic case of the old man in a basement flat sort of creating a persona that they are a 6'2" tall blonde model, right? And what they do is they try and get the attention of people, or they're trollers and they intimidate people by actually having a fake identity. Gang, this is an extreme example, but I've got to say to you, you need to have your persona online on social being very similar to who you really are. Because if it's not, and then people meet you in real life, they say, I'm disappointed, it's not who I thought you were. Very important to understand your audio must match your video, guys and girls. I want to move on and talk to you about the last strategy that is having incredible cut through for me. I'm seeing it all around the world. It is going to be a killer strategy for great agents this year. And that is, it's no longer about who makes the most calls. It's about who is the agent that's using technology and leverage to enhance the amount of calls they're making. And I'm going to give you a couple of tools. I'm going to focus on one specifically that I've been using. If you're a real estate gym member, you would have received a few calls from me over the last few weeks where I come into your voicemail as a message, and it is personal. Yes, it is automated, but people just love the fact that they're hearing your voice on the basis that you've actually called them. I'm using a company called TriCall. I don't own the company, right? I'm not an ambassador. I'm not looking for you to put on some coupon code or affiliate, right? I'm just telling you who I'm using, right? Tom Ferry spoke about it at ARIC. He uses one in America. And I've got to say to you, what automation does, it allows you to actually get high leverage calls. I mean, I can do 5,000 calls in a day. You can't do that as a human being without automation. So how could you use this sort of strategy? You can use it by getting more appraisals. How? By having a voice message that goes to everyone. All you need is their mobile number, gang. Simple process, and then it goes and it hits all their voicemails. It's basically done as a voice recording, and then you upload it into TriCall, and then it hits potentially 5,000 people, and a message would go something along the lines of this. The market has changed dramatically since we spoke last year. To know the new value of your home, please dial 1 and my PA will book you in for 15 minutes, right? Simple as that. Or buyer calls. I know you've been looking for a 2-bedroom unit for under 700. I have something that might interest you. I'm going to be making appointments all day, so I'll SMS you the details, and if you're interested, please reply. Or you could be doing it for your afternoon callbacks. Anniversary calls are a great one. Hey, do you know that it's exactly 3 years that you bought your home? Hope life is good, and letting you know I can give you a 15-minute pop around valuation on your property. Gang, I'm going to tell you that this automation is going to be hot next 12 months. Some of the keys, make sure that you're not infringing on any government legislation with it. And I think the act is the Australian Spam Act 2003. I also want you to understand this approach works best when people have already met you, right? That's when it works best, right? The next thing is make sure that you have got the resources to respond to all the inquiries that come back. Make sure you got your PA trained. So gang, I'm telling you straight that those 3 killer strategies and those 3 scripts today are things that I think you should focus on. Please press that share button. Guys and girls, I'm letting you know, real estate gym members, I'm seeing you face to face. Hey, how good's that? That I've actually brought face-to-face training to real estate gym members, and the seminar is exclusive, gym members only. It's $39 where you're going to get script school, scripts you've never heard, plus you're going to get Tanay Jane, who's going to run through his whole system, start to finish, on how he wrote $1 million in his 3rd year in real estate. This is coming to Sydney. It's coming to Melbourne. It's coming to Brisbane. We're locking in dates for Perth, and we're doing Auckland all in August. Only real estate gym members. Gym members, check your real estate gym membership for you to actually log in and secure your spot. Guys and girls, I want to thank you so much. This has been brought to you by Industry Media, and I've got to tell you, if you're looking for hot property videos, or if you want to know how you can live stream your next big event, may I suggest that you go onto the Industry Media website and click the button. They have supported this today. Guys and girls, thank you so much, and never ever forget, if you're going through a challenging time right now, I've walked your path, and I like to leave on this note. No matter how shit things are, please remember, never awfulize to the point where you think things aren't going to get better. My experience is that difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. The past does not equal the future, and I'm going to tell you, the past is in fact a place of reference, not a place of residence. So may I give you my advice to have a great month? Drop the past, let go of the bullshit, start looking at life with a new set of eyes, and remember, never let your personal history get in the way of your destiny. Who you are is not who you can be. Thank you so much.